What's up, everybody? It's been a few weeks, but Big Jack and Mike are back with a best bets of the NFL weekend video. I think 2 weeks ago we did the short little condensed version where it was me by myself. Last week we didn't bring a video at all to you guys, although we did make some picks and we're honest with each other. Um, but we're here after 17 weeks. I'm sitting at just over 52%. Got as high as like in the 60s, a little over halfway through the season. It's kind of been a steady decline since. Jack, you started out ice cold this year, but you have clawed back to a very respectable 54% on the year. You have a good week, and you could end up above that 55% threshold, which I know you're aiming for. It's glad to have you back. Last week of the regular season, where's your heads at?
Yeah, it feels good to be back. It's always tough with the Christmas season, New Year's, whatever other holidays are out there. But yeah, no, it's good to be back, get back in the saddle, finish off the season right. Hopefully, we can kind of continue to bring a few more of these down the stretch in the playoffs as well. But yeah, obviously, last 2 weeks in a row now, I don't want to speak for both of us, but I think I've gone 1-2, 1-2. So not exactly how you want to finish. I felt like I was in a pretty good spot if I had taken care of business the last 2 weeks, but unfortunately, it's gone a little bit the other direction. But like you said, still have a week to salvage it and hopefully continue to push it in a positive direction in the playoffs. This week itself is just tough. It's fantasy football has kind of changed where now the last week is always week 16 because they know that it's a complete toss up this week. You're getting a lot of people resting guys, whoever's got their spot sort of shored up for the playoffs. A lot of teams who know they're out of it. You don't really know how to predict what sort of motivation level they have. A lot of teams who are out of it but jockeying for draft position. You don't know what's going on internally. There's a lot of factors that are tough to predict this week. It's probably one of the tougher, if not the toughest weeks of the year, just because of all the factors that go into it. But nonetheless, come up with our three best plays and see if we can finish out the regular season on a high note.
Yeah, man, it's a tough week. I mean, from guys just sitting because teams can't improve or worsen their playoff situation realistically to guys holding out for contract reasons or not even holding out, being held out against their own will to uh, injuries. I mean, everything across the board. It is a tough week for sure. I feel like I'm sitting here with three pretty square picks, which scares the daylights out of me. I feel good about them, but at the same time, I feel like they're square, which worries me. But we'll get right into it. You know, it's kind of our mo here is we get right into the picks. As always, I'll start, or as usually, I guess I'll start. I'm going to start with a team I have not been on, despite their incredibly hot streak. They've needed to run the gauntlet here to make the playoffs, and it's looking like they might do it. It comes down to a big game this week to win the division, to make the playoffs. They have a lot of tiebreakers going against them. I'm going to back the Buffalo Bills, a team that you've been on a lot this year, especially that second half of the season. They're 2.5 point favorites at Miami. Miami to me is a team that even they're for sure in the playoffs, I believe. They have a strong record. Um, they do some good things, but to me, they're a team that likes to pick on the lesser opponents, and they have trouble in step up games for the bigger picture. They might have stepped up once this year, but um, just to me, they seem pretender. They scream pretender to me. And the Bills, if they find a way to make it into the playoffs, you better believe they're a full blown contender. So Buffalo Bills minus 2.5, season on the line. Uh, Maybe the best quarterback in the league, one of the better head coaches. They just got to get in the dance and they got to win this week. So Buffalo Bills minus 2.5, my first pick of the week.
Yeah, it was going to be my last pick, but I'll jump right into it. I'm going to piggyback on top of it. I've been saying it for a few weeks now. I mean, if you've been riding the Bills ATS, you haven't been doing so hot lately. They've kind of been squeaking out some wins. But I said it a little over a month ago now, kind of when they got this thing rolling against Kansas City. I sort of felt like they were in that perfect position that Cincinnati's been in these past few years where they're sort of middling around 500. You don't really know what they're going to be. And then they kind of put it together down the stretch and sort of just went out all the way into the Super Bowl. And I've been steadfast with that. I really think that's what this Buffalo team could do. Certainly, they haven't been convincing. That Chargers win, I get it. A little bit of a letdown spot. You come off of a massive win against Kansas City, massive win at home where you absolutely obliterate the Dallas Cowboys. You got a long travel week out to LA. I get it. You do what you got to do to get a win, but coming home against New England, I really thought they should have blew the brakes off of them. And it was like, you that turnover battle at one point, I think was like 5-1, and you win the game. It was never really in question, but also don't come out of that feeling great. But I do think, it's a massive week. On the road, I get it playing down in Miami this time of year, especially for a team who's used to that Buffalo climate. I could see that being rather difficult. The Patriots famously struggled in Miami every year on the road, for even when it seemed like they were sweeping that division year in and year out with Brady and Belichick's dynasty. But I don't know. I just think the Bills are going to be ready to play. It's for the division. That's going to secure home playoffs. If the Bills win, it's a crazy thing. They could either be the 2 seed with a win, or depending on how the other games fall, they could slip all the way out of the playoffs with a loss. It's going to be no lack of motivation on either side. Dolphins, I'm sure, want home playoff as well. It's tough game on the road. I think the injuries for the Dolphins are just really piling up. And I'm not sure how healthy Tyreek Hill really is. I know he's kind of playing through what he's got going on with that ankle. I don't know. I just think the Bills are going to go down there. I think a lot of people see the board and think Miami at home plus 2.5, plus 3.5, wherever you've been shopping. I think it looks attractive, and the Bills just go down there and sort of smack them around the way they did up in Buffalo, take care of business. I hope it's ugly. I hope they kill them, but I'll definitely take the 2.5. Hopefully, they win by at least a field goal.
Yeah, let's hope they kill him, Jack. But yeah, we'll take that 2.5 for sure. All right, second pick of the week. Another team with some playoff aspirations. This is why I feel like I'm a square this week, playing a lesser opponent and an inferior opponent that does not have playoff aspirations. Seahawks are 3-point favorites heading to Arizona. Arizona, as Bears fans, we saw them a couple weeks ago. They did not look too good, but they did bounce back last week. Got to win at Philadelphia. I think that could be their kind of high note to end the season. They go out and lay a turd this week. I think the Seahawks do enough. They win by at least a field goal, hopefully comfortably more than that, considering the number is 3. Seahawks -3 at Arizona. That's going to be my second pick of the week.
I like it. I mean, I like you said at the start, kind of seems a little squarish. Arizona's not a good team. Obviously, they only have 4 wins on the year, coming off a big win on the road against Philly. But they're not very good. Seattle's got a lot of motivation. I think they win and they're in. You've got to think Pete Carroll have them ready to take care of business. My second pick, I'm going to turn to tomorrow's games, the first game of the weekend, the Saturday slate. Steelers, Ravens. Um, Steelers have been rolling, but I'm going to take the Ravens +4. I just think it's a spot where everyone's going to be like, oh, Steelers are fighting for a playoff spot. Ravens are playing nobody. I don't know. I think Harbaugh is just a hell of a football coach, a hell of a motivator. I think whoever's going to be on that field is going to be ready to play. I feel like Steelers are a little bit of darlings. Mason Rudolph has kind of had some magic these last 2 weeks. God bless him. It's been, you know, exciting to watch in a sense from an onset of a the third string quarterback putting up the numbers he's been putting up. You kind of makes you baffled as why Mitch was ever the backup. Um, but I just don't see them blowing the Ravens out of the water. It's one of those things where I look at the game and think if Lamar Jackson was playing, the Ravens are probably like close to 10 to 13 point favorites,
Yeah,
and
I would say like
now they're
seven and
four.
a half, something like that minimum.
I just at home, and now they're 4 point dogs. I just think it's too much. I think it's a bad number, and I'll take the Ravens plus the 4.
I like the logic there. I do think Tyler Huntley is a guy that can go out there and can be serviceable in this spot.
Yeah.
Steelers don't really kill anybody. In my opinion, they're just not
No.
that well oiled of an offensive machine. I like the odds of the Baltimore backups or mixed in with the starters. I like the odds of them keeping it close against the Steelers. I like your thought process there. All right. Quick side note before my last pick. Against the spread this season, I'm less than 500. I'm sub 500. I know over unders. I'm 9-5-1, so I'm an over under guy, and I'm gonna go with an over on my last pick. I'm gonna go with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers team total over 20.5 at the Carolina Panthers. This one does worry me a little bit because they might just be looking, we just got to win. We don't care what the situation is, just get a win and we're going to be in the playoffs type deal. So they won't need to like run it up. It's not a college football situation where they're trying to impress voters. They just got to get a win. But that being said, um, Panthers got really no motivation other than a little bit of pride. A couple weeks ago, Baker looked great. Last week, tough time against the Saints. I like them to try to get that offense right before their hopeful playoff appearance here. I'm going to go Tampa Bay team total over 20.5. Last time these two teams played, Bucks only got to 21, and largely because Mike Evans went nuclear, had like a 75-yard touchdown, a couple other big plays. Mike Evans, step up for your boy. Let's get at least 21, baby. That's my third pick of the week.
Yeah, I was gonna say if they get 21, that's all you need, my man.
That's
That's
it.
all you need to over 20 and a half. Yeah, I don't have much commentary to add to that. I'm not a big over under person. I think I've only maybe done like 2 or 3 of them on the entire season. But you've been dominating with them. Your record speaks for itself, especially on those team totals. I feel like it might even be better than the over under in general. So yeah, I ride that pick all day, baby. Um, and if it was college football playoff, the Bears would be in because they're fucking home. My last pick, I'm gonna actually stay in that division. Another divisional matchup: Falcons at the Saints on the road. I'm showing Falcons plus 3.5. It might be plus 3 depending on where you look, but I'm going to take the Falcons this week. I think they're coming off a situation where they looked pretty awful against the Bears. But something a lot of people might not know is the Falcons haven't really won an outdoor game in December in like forever. I think they're just a dome team. They're used to a certain climate. They're going to be more comfortable in a dome. I know New Orleans is always a tough place to play. Saints are obviously still fighting for the playoffs, as are the Falcons. Going to need some things to break their way. But I don't know. I just think the Falcons are undervalued right now. I think it's similar to that Ravens number. I don't think it's a great number. I think there's a little bit of an advantage there, and I'm just going to take the Falcons plus 3.5. Try not to overthink it. Ugly after what we just saw. It's tough to rely on a team who looked that bad less than a week ago, but I think they bounce back. I think they are competitive enough where I wouldn't necessarily lean money line on the game. I feel like Saints probably find a way to get it done, but I certainly think it's competitive, and the Falcons cover that number.
Right on. All right. Quick recap. Um, Jack and I, who are 1-0 when we're on the same side this year. Kind of crazy. We've only been on the same side once. Uh, we are 1-0 when on the same side. Are both on the Buffalo Bills -2.5 at Miami. I'm also on the Seahawks -3 and the Tampa Bay team total over 20.5. Jack is also on top of that Buffalo pick. He's on the Baltimore Ravens +4 versus the Steelers at home, and the Atlanta Falcons +3.5 at the New Orleans Superdome. Great picks, Jack. 5 picks this week between the two of us. Would be great to end on a high note, maybe a parlay cash. Worst case scenario, you are officially locked in going over 50-50 on the year, over 50%. I need to get one non-loss to guarantee a 50-50. With the amount of pushes I've gotten this year, it'll probably be a push that guarantees me. But all
Push
right.
King, baby.
Those are the picks. Have a great last regular season weekend, everybody out there. If you like this type of content, like, subscribe, comment, get involved. Tell us what we could do better. Tell us where we went wrong with our picks. We are also bringing you some Chicago Bears draft content already. That's gets a little bit of engagement actually. So we'll keep that coming. But those are the picks. We'll be back with a Bears preview video of their Week 18 game at Lambeau Field against the Green Bay Packers. And Jack, any last words for everybody out there?
No, man. Like you said a couple times, last regular season of the week of the year. Unfortunately, the Chicago Bears included, a lot of teams are going to be packing it up for a few months after this weekend. So enjoy that last game. Like we said, it always goes by too quick, and it's gone before you know it. So try to soak in this last one. Have yourself a good, nice little weekend to wrap it all up.
Amen. All right. Like and subscribe.
Bears.